Welcome to Nearing Nerdvana. This is episode 147 of Long Story Short. So yesterday, Beyond Wednesday, we were celebrating our 4-year anniversary. And I was like, dang, that's crazy. So that means we're like right there too with this show, right? Ben, you're muted for some whatever reason. It's weird.
Nope.
Nope.
That's
so crazy because we were literally just like talking like backstage. Oh, try leaving StreamYard and come back in because I think it's a weird bug. All right, so I'll delay a little bit longer. So yeah, can you believe it that Beyond Wednesdays is celebrating its 4-year anniversary of when the channel started?
Yeah, man, that's some time. It's just like Carter hitting his 100th episode this past week. A lot of landmark
Still
episodes.
can't hear you, Ben.
You can't hear me, or you can't hear Ben?
I can't hear Ben.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear him?
I hear nothing.
No, I don't hear him.
Okay, but you hear John and you hear myself, right? Mercenot and John, you hear Mercenot and me?
I hear all three of you, and I don't hear Ben. I can tell you one thing.
I'm turning 40 years old this year.
When you went to the to start the show, it muted my mic and the sound, and there was a touch screen thing that says hit it to get sound back. So I'm wondering if Ben has to do that too.
So whenever the intro plays, it's gonna automatically mute you, and then whenever it gets back to this screen, it unmutes it automatically.
Right.
Yeah, it's just okay. Yeah, so Ben's gonna try to figure out his audio issues of what's going on, and then we're gonna keep on delaying as long as so we'll keep on going with the conversation that we typically have. So
you were mentioning what is it, Beyond Wednesday's 4 years anniversary?
Oh yeah. And so like
Carter's 100th episode just passed.
Yeah, so I didn't keep good track of that on here of like what year we started, but I know it was around the same time Beyond Wednesday started. So I'm wondering if this has also been 4 years.
How many episodes for Ben now with or for this show?
Long story short, we're at 147.
Yeah. Oof. Okay, you're about to hit 150.
Yeah.
And you have no sound.
Who has no sound?
No, I'm talking about Ben. He keeps he has to leave, come back.
Yeah. I'm not sure what's going on with that. It's so weird. It must be YouTube related. I don't think it's YouTube related because we're so we all gather into a program called a website called StreamYard, and then that broadcasts to YouTube. It's just an easier way to stream instead of all four of us meeting up on YouTube, because I don't know exactly how that even works, if you can do that. I mean, I know as an individual user you can like stream from your computer on YouTube, but I don't know what happens when you add other people,
right,
or how that works really. I just know the way I stream now. Let's see. Carter is Red Rising Hood. I think we've heard that joke before though.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I just woke up, so I'm like hella groggy.
Nah, that's cool. But you've been in the content creation game for a good minute now, huh? Because I think when I joined YouTube, you had already been on for at least 10 years, right?
Oh, since 2012.
Oh wow!
I've been doing videos.
Jeez,
I've been doing haul videos since then.
So you're like OG. You were on YouTube before you got bought by Google.
He's almost older than Facebook.
No, I'm just joking. I think Google had bought YouTube by that point.
I think so. It's tough to It's so tough to remember.
Yeah.
I'm thinking. Oh man, I think my arm is getting old now.
All right, how about now?
I can barely hear you.
Barely hear me. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can hear you now, though.
Okay, hold on.
So whatever you did, you're getting closer. But yeah, so I think we've been doing this show for at least, it has to be at least 4 years then as well. I did run into our first episode, like when looking at the checking in.
How about now?
Yes. That's perfect. All right, that's perfect. Right. Yeah,
like loud and clear. Like
super loud and clear, just like it was backstage. So whatever you did,
I don't know what the fuck was going. Sorry about that, everybody.
Okay, so like I was saying, like, so have we been doing this show for at least 4 years on Nearing Nirvana now at this point? Then
it's got to be pretty close, right? So it's 147 episodes. I mean, that's 3 years if we did every week and we missed a bunch. So it's got to be. Yeah. We missed quite a few. You know what I mean? We missed probably one.
I mean, week. Out of 52 weeks out of the year, I would say we probably hit like what, 46?
Yeah, something like that. 40 to 46, something like that.
Yeah, with taking like a reasonable, excluding holidays and all that.
Yeah, so we're probably pushing 4 years for sure. Yeah.
Which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, I would have. The time flies, man. I mean, the fact that Carter's show, I was bummed I couldn't be on the 100th episode, but I feel like Carter and I started doing it because I remember we were doing a couple shows before it actually started being numbered. Like I think we did one or two, like
a couple, like a test show,
test shows, and that feels like it was fucking yesterday. I mean, it literally feels like that was like yesterday.
It does.
Well, John was just asking, like, he's like, whoa, you're about to hit that milestone of 150. I was just thinking, I was like, damn, it just seems like yesterday we hit episode 69 and then we had Stein on the show.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild, man. It's wild. Time flies.
That was a fun episode.
Yeah, that was a fun episode. Yeah, time has a way of running away from you, I guess. But yeah, man. We're still here. You guys are still watching, and why don't we get into the actual show before we lose everybody? All right.
And big shout out to our sponsors over at Bird City and Cover Price. And we're still waiting for DeVoe to show up on the show.
So this episode is focused a lot on newsstands. The vibe of the show is going to be a little bit different. I've got actually a bunch of data to share, and we're going to talk through a lot of books. But so if newsstands aren't your thing, by all means, tune out. Come see us in a future show. But we're gonna go deep, like real deep, on newsy data tonight. So hope everybody's ready for it, because there's some interesting stuff I think we can talk about. So, anyways, let's get into it. So I want to start real quick with this chart. Like I watch a lot of YouTube content, and when anybody talks about newsstands, this chart comes up, and I think people don't appreciate where this data came from. Some of you probably know, but I see this, and people just sort of take this as gospel. What this data is and where this came from. Aaron, if you don't mind going to the next slide. It was really, and these guys, and this is a great article if you want to sort of dig into this. This was Newsstand's first direct editions by Ben Noble. This was written like a decade ago, but still super relevant. So give credit where credit is due when I'm on the show tonight. But if you go to the next slide, that data that we look at, that we see so often for newsstands, was really done by Chuck Rosansky from Mile High Comics. So he was the guy that pulled this data, and what he effectively did, he was just looking only at Marvel Comics, and he was going back through his books, and he's got millions, literally millions, and looking at how many newsstands he was able to find based on any given year.
Now, when you see these percentages, like 1% in 2013, that does not mean that if you find an issue that 1% of the print run was newsstands, that means 1% of the comics in 2013 came out were newsstands. So there are plenty of comics that were released in 2013 that had no newsstands because they weren't being sold. And the newsstand market at that point was really just Barnes and Nobles and Books A Million. Like that was the only newsstand distribution that late in the game. So that 1% does not mean that there's a 1% print run if you find a newsstand. It just means that of the comics produced, roughly it's a 1% number. There's a couple of other data points in here. Bill James from Marvel, he threw out a number in an interview that 14% number in 1999 was newsstands. That was basically just something he threw off the cuff. And then John Jackson Miller from Comicron, one of the best comic book databases, had an estimate that he came up with in 2013 at 6.8%. But this is really the best guesses of what newsstand distribution was. So when you see that chart, what you're seeing when that comes out is the Chuck Rosansky numbers that he pulled based on what he was able to find exclusively from his Marvel comics in his personal stash. So just want to put that out there that these numbers, while directionally correct, are not like hard and fast numbers. They're the best estimates that we've got.
Oh, so it's like a pooled sample of his million of books, right?
Yeah, and it's not a bad. I mean, if anybody's going to do it, I mean, it's not the worst way to go about it. But there's actually no hard numbers for this stuff. So just something to keep in mind. So anyways, yeah, I just wanted to sort of air that out on that chart of what we're actually looking at. Now we're going to dive into some numbers. This was a really good piece put out by GP Analysis. If anybody wants to reference it, we're going to reference a bunch of charts here. Just giving credit where credit is due. This is the article if you wanted to look at it yourself. But I found that there was some really interesting charts in here that I thought would make sense for us to talk about. So, and we're going to go by the chart and then look at the book. So, this is their estimates on Wolverine #1 from 1982. Now, if you look at the prior charts, 1982 newsstands outnumber directs quite considerably. But what you're finding in sort of the real world is that the newsstands are far more rare than the direct editions, even though based on that chart, they should be more common by a very, very wide margin. This data was through 2021, I believe. But what you're seeing here is that, in terms of 9/8, there's, more than 10 times the amount of copies of Wolverine #1 in direct than there is in newsstand, and that holds pretty consistently all the way down the line, which surprises me on this book because if we look at the book itself on the next slide, what you see, you don't see that big of a price difference. I mean, it's notable, but I almost feel it should be bigger. So the last 9.8 Newsy that sold for this was $950 just this month, which is a respectable sale for sure. The last 9.8 direct also sold this month for $550. So, not quite a double in the current market. There are, as it stands today, there are 32,303 copies of this on the census, almost 6,000 and 9.8. If that 10% sort of ratio continued to hold, and we don't have the most recent data on that, that means that there's 600. It feels to me like, this is a far rarer book in Newsy than many people appreciate. And this is obviously a legendary, this is technically bronze. No, this is copper. This is the front end of copper.
It's iconic.
Now Ben, you got to know when these hit the newsstands, people like with that cover, they picked it up off of the newsstand rack, handled it, read it, looked through it, just because of the cover.
Oh
right?
yeah.
So
and Wolverine was
9.8,
beloved. I mean, keep in mind that, like, you know, Wolverine was a huge X-Men character, right? This was a massive book, a massive book. And I think part of the reason why there's so many directs is because the comic book stores just went crazy on it because they knew everybody loved Wolverine. You know what I mean? Everybody loved him. So, yeah, just while the data would imply that the newsstand, the direct would be rarer, it certainly is not proven to be the case in the actual data in the wild. All right, let's look at some more books. All right, so here is ASM 300, one of the most beloved books in the hobby. At this point in time, newsstands were supposedly 50-50 with direct, but what you see here is that directs far outnumber newsstands, certainly in the higher grades, right? And it's not even close. Once again, basically a 10 times difference in sort of the, well, 9.8 is not even remotely close, but in the 9.6, 9.4, you're talking, you know, close to 10 times, trails off, you know, the further on you go. But that just is a testament to sort of how difficult it was to find newsstands in high grade. You know, just because the spinner racks beat the shit out of them. But certainly on the high end of the market, there's far more directs than there are newsies. And if you look at this,
I'd be really interested to see what the charts look like, you know, even 5 years since they started like CGC started recognizing newsstands.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
because CGC, yeah, I mean, that's the real issue, is that they never distinguish. CBCS always did, believe it or not.
Yeah,
they actually from day one, but because their census is so much smaller, there's not enough data to really look at.
Right. But you're also like talking about, like, you know, with the CGC numbers, it's like 20 years of grading this book.
Yeah.
Versus, like, I don't know, has it even been 5 years since they started recognizing newsstands?
So not a lot of people, if they already had like a 9.8 in a banger newsstand book, and the slab was still, I mean, clean and no scratches and all that, what's to compel someone that it's an obvious newsstand to send it in to have the little type font newsstand? You know what I mean? Maybe they think they could sell it a little bit, but everybody knows what a news like that Frank Miller one. It's got the barcode. You know, it's a newsstand. You know.
So I mean, but you wouldn't. I mean, if you're going by purely census numbers and stuff like that, you wouldn't. Yeah. You would. I mean, I'm just giving your example, like, some more light to it, right? Of why you wouldn't want to recrack it, because, like, at that point in time, you could just say, like, oh, it's a newsstand, and then if someone looks up the CGC numbers and says, oh, there's only 33 9.8 newsstands.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's like a little. I don't want to say it's manipulating the market. It
is manipulating the market.
It's misleading for sure.
It's very misleading.
Yeah, but I think any collector, even like moderate sophistication, should be able to pick up on that, right? Knowing that, you know, there's obviously.
Right. I don't disagree with that statement, but I'm saying there's still a crowd of people that would probably miss that kind of detail.
Yeah, well, I don't. CGC has been grading for too long for that gap ever to be closed. Unfortunately, like, I think, like, whatever, that ship has sailed, as they said. But yeah, I don't think anybody's going to send in a newsie just to get the newsie on the label. It's not going to move the needle. Like, everybody, to Joe's pointer, where everybody knows that it's a newsstand. But if you look at ASM, I mean, there's a huge difference, right, in this book already between. If we go to the next slide, you can see, you know, the price differences are staggering, right? The last 9.8 newsies sold for $8,000, which is not even near its highs. $8,000, versus, you know, not even just under 3,000, right? Both sales happened this month for the direct, right? I mean, that is a meaningful difference in price.
I gotta send. it's killing me. I got 296's newsstand, right? So
Are you gonna CPR?
You know where I'm at, bro. I was like, man, I sent it. I want that bitch to come back a 9.4, man. Like, the haters. Oh, fuck this guy, man. That's Hood. Put it a 9.4.
Yeah, I don't know if you fuck with it, but it's. I mean, this is 40,000 of these on the census. 40,000. 2,156 are 9.8s.
Didn't they recognize the 40,000th graded or something like that, or some like weird number?
Yeah, like there was something like that. Yeah.
I mean, I never saw it, but like I thought that was always kind of interesting that the whatever iconic number that they decided on, that they gave it a special label.
Three Rivers is a good question. I love this question. He asks, so would you rather have a 9.8 direct or a 9.6 newsstand? I mean, for me, I would take the 9.6 newsstand, just knowing the scarcity difference. I would imagine I'd probably be in the minority there. Most people just want the 9.8, but I'd be happy with the 9.6 newsy.
I would like to know what the price of a 9.6 newsstand is compared to this 2.7.
It's probably all else being equal, right? For the same price, which one would you take?
I mean, I would assume it's close to the same price, but I don't know that for sure. You know what I mean? Like, because if we're talking about spending like $4K for a 9.6 newsstand of this book, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, but
yeah.
But I mean, like, if it's the same price of 2.75, I'm going to go with the newsstand.
Yeah, I would like all else being equal, just I would take a 9.6 newsy over a 9.8 direct, just given what the print run difference is, but that's just me. So
you could dangle it like a carrot and see, are you a cowboy? Do you think you can
get it to 9.8?
Yeah. I sell it and then it comes right back to me for me to press.
All right, there's a lot on the show tonight, so we're gonna keep going. I promise you, there's not charts for every book we're gonna talk about, but I just thought they were interesting enough when I found them.
That's good stuff, man.
That it was worth looking at. So, so this is New Mutants 98. Obviously, another big book where there's a big discrepancy between the direct and the newsies. I found out there's a lot of contention in the market about books from this era, whether the newsies should be worth more or not. And I think it's largely driven by people who put a lot of money in these books. And, even 5 years ago, there wasn't a real major price difference between newsies and directs, or maybe 6 or 7 years ago. It's really started to explode more recently. And I think people are like frustrated, like, why should there be a difference? I bought the direct, because they could have bought the newsie at the time for the same price. And, but as you look at the data, I mean, it's going to become clearer and clearer over time. And I think the gap is only going to grow over time, in my opinion. So New Mutants 98, once again, we're looking at roughly, and certainly in the 9.8 range, a 10x difference. But this was the era when print runs exploded and comic shops were selling stacks of books. But the newsstand could only accommodate so many copies, regardless of how popular the book was. It just could only process so many, and we're going to get into some data about that shortly. But what you can see is that at anything in sort of in the sort of 8.5 and beyond, there's a meaningful gap between directs and newsies, and I think this is another book that I think the premium from the newsstands will continue to grow relative to the directs over time. But if we take a look at where things stand today on the next slide, what we see is that basically we're talking about a 2x price difference, just over 2,000 for a 9.8 newsy and about 1,000 for a 9.8 direct, which is meaningful. Given the popularity of Deadpool, I would expect that to grow over time. We'll see what happens. I obviously have no freaking idea ultimately what happens, but I would expect that to grow over time. A heavily graded book, 31,000 copies. I just think that the collectors are going to gravitate towards the more scarce version as the years go on, but we'll see.
Well, you're already seeing a lot of that with artists really conscious now of print count. Like, like they want to protect the scarcity of the book and not flood and not oversaturate it. Like, I don't want to bring up any retailers that like print like eight different covers, 9 different covers, but it's the same cover, but it's got a little hue on it and it's got a little tint. I mean, a little shimmer. But well, I think you're seeing artists really commanding, hey, I only want a certain print count on this. And people, buyers are really conscious of that. How many were 50? Okay, I'm in,
Yeah.
Especially if it's a banker cover too, right?
Yeah, but then you've got outliers too, like Absolute Batman that make no sense with the A cover flying and the variants stagnant. And I don't know how long that's going to be. Because eventually those variants are like 1 in 100 and 1,000. Eventually people are gonna say, you know what, I kind of want that 1 in 100. But
I mean, I think the problem with Absolute Batman or any modern release really that the publishers are counting on nowadays, there's like 50,000 choices for one book, right? And so like, as a consumer or a collector or flipper or whatever, like how do you make your decisions off of a menu board of like 200 books? Like it's like basically putting money down on a roulette table of guessing like which covers are going to hit. And especially if you don't see the art before like whatever final order cutoff or the pre-order window, stuff like that, and you're just basing it off of like artist names and the historical of what they've done in the past. So it's like almost like, and then there's this new artist that you've never heard of ends up with having the best cover out of all of them, and it has like the lowest print count of whatever. So
yeah, I mean, the exclusive market is gaming the scarcity stuff, pretty aggressively these days. And the problem is that, how many books can the market absorb, even if they're limited to 250? Like eventually, like it becomes too much. But
like I think buyers now are more conscious of it too. Before that, all they had to hear was the word exclusive, and they were in. Yeah. But now that that exclusive, that had 5,000 copies or 10,000, is really not exclusive at all, right? But now you're when artists are doing like 1 in 20, 1 in 25, 1 in 10s, like then it becomes like a legitimate collectible. Like, is it manufactured? Well, yeah, if you only make 25, you're manufacturing the scarcity. But like, what artist wants like their book just sitting there in back bins and like, you know what I mean? Like all these artists now want their shit collectible,
Yeah, man. I mean, that makes sense. And you're going to sell 250 copies at $50 instead of,
right,
500 or 1,000 at 25, right? So it makes sense. It makes sense.
I think it's the long game. Like where are we going to be in 5 years? Like,
I'm going to reverse Three Rivers question here. So, would you take a 9.6 newsstand? We'll use this book as the example. 9.6 newsstand of New Mutants 98, and would you try to trade it for a 9.8 direct? Assuming they're close.
I personally, I wouldn't go the other way. Like I have a 9.6 of this book, and I swapped my 9.6 direct. Like I sold and bought the book for the same price like 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I mean, for me, just particularly from this era when the comics went nuts and the shops were like ordering, hand over fist, the newsies for me are really attractive from particularly this era and forward.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that, but I mean, I know there's a lot of people that would, take any opportunity they could to turn a
totally.
9.6 into a 9.8.
Yeah.
Despite the fact.
Right? I'm not pretending that my point of view is the right one. I'm just saying that's what I would do. Personally.
Right. No, I mean,
no. So long short, you would get the 9.8.
No, I'd keep the 9.6.
Keep the 9.6. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of in that same thing.
And then honestly, like I was telling Ben backstage, particularly on this book, like I've owned like I don't even know how many different copies of New Mutants 98 over the years, and like I sold my direct before the movie hype of Deadpool Wolverine, and then this is like almost 2 years later. I'm actually starting to shop again for New Mutants 98 direct because that's what I sold because I knew of the hype time period, and the price I sold it at is like the price I want to pay for a 9.8. So I'm upgrading that copy, and throughout this entire time period, I held on to my newsstand. Like I knew I would at the price I bought it at. There's no way I would get that price again for that book. The best thing, the best next thing I can do for that 9.6 newsstand is to take the gamble of doing a CPR. Yeah, I mean, especially since it was graded by CBCS on top of that too. Like I was double buying on the dip, the CBCS hit and the
cross grade.
Well, and then in the hopes of cross grading it.
Yeah, man, that might be a bet worth making.
But at the end of the day, and I know some people don't want to hear this, the 9.6 and the 9.8 are the same grade. They're both near mint.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a very subtle difference, right? A 9.6 is a near mint plus, and then technically a 9.8 is a near mint plus / mint. So it's like that in between grade, like a 9.0 from very fine plus to near mint.
But technically,
in the grand scheme of things,
I think 9.6s are poo-pooed way too much, and it's the best value in the game if you want a CPR or buy in a little cheaper on something like this, a 9.6 newsstand of New Mutants 98. I had a couple of buddies make me crack their New Mutants, and they both got 9.8. So, it could either go either way, 9.4 or 9.8.
If you think the book is going to go up in price, like in general, buy a couple 9.6s because it'll usually appreciate faster than the 9.8 over time. If you think it's going up, but yeah, I've got no problem holding the 9.6s, particularly if there's a rarer version. But all right, why don't we keep going because there's a lot of books to talk about tonight. All right, so Spawn number 1. I mean, the difference here is starting to get, these are sizable differences for sure. This is one of the more underrated books I can think of, to be honest with you. As heavily as Spawn was printed, like the newsstands are less than 10%. You can see here in the chart, 9,540 9.8, 773 newsstand 9.8s, and if you go to the sales prices on them, the newsies definitely get a nice premium. They're going for $575 versus $140 for the directs, but that honestly that newsie feels undervalued just given how big of a character Spawn is and how few of them there are. But
weren't 9.8 newsstands at one point in time like $1,000?
No, 9 newsstands. Yes. Like in the comic boom period, and the directs were going for just over 200, like 225, I think, which is crazy to think of, given that it's a 2 million print run book. But
this book is always super liquid too. Like
it always moves. This book always moves. Always,
especially when McFarlane sooner or later is going to quit signing books, bro. Like that's going to be a thing, man. So
I mean, I feel like he's signed so much at this point that like,
yeah,
that like I don't think you'll ever hurt to have to find a McFarlane autograph.
true.
I mean, in any kind of form, right? Like whether it be signed on the comic book or any of his toy lines.
No, but my thing was, would they want to buy this book in a newsstand to have McFarlane sign it before?
Before he stopped signing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a 9.6 of this as well. I bought it really, really cheap several years ago. And it looks really clean. Like I'm tempted to send it to Joe, but it would be great to have like a green Todd McFarlane signature on it.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I don't chase signatures, but the green signature on this book looks fucking awesome. The fluorescent green one, it looks really, really good.
Yeah. And you can try your best to, write it on and say, please sign in green.
Yeah. Good luck. Yeah, you never know what you're going to get.
I mean, it's all artist choice.
I think you better emphasize green paint marker because I was involved in his last signing that's just passed. Mm-hmm. And I must have been on the ass end of the who gives a shit, hurry up and get him out. And I wanted a triple signed, well, actually a double signed Mark Spears Spawn cover book that was also signed by Michael J. White.
Wow.
And I wanted to add his as the third signature, since it's the only one on the census. And I submitted through my LCS, and he wrote down for him to sign it in blue. And he signed it in a blue Sharpie right where all the blue artwork is at.
Oh God.
So he pulled a fucking Stan Lee. So now when it does arrive, I have to hopefully write him a DM and see if he responds to
thank you.
And just see if he's got some kind of a heart, and maybe he'll let me ship it back to somebody. And I'll even send him a blue fucking paint marker. I'm just gonna ask him, listen, man, like this book is like really, really special. Like, do you think you can just sign over it? And I'll pay everything. I don't know if I want to.
Hopefully he responds, man. You aren't the only one. I mean, I heard there were a lot of people pretty pissed off about that signing.
Yeah, I did. I also heard my LCS guy was telling me that he said there was a hurry up and get it done because they were behind on. I guess he committed to a certain amount of days and hours, and when it was about to end, it was like, okay, now just finish these last ones up.
And hearing that is kind of disappointing, because the customer service piece. The customer service piece of it, like they're paying for the expectation that their books are handled with care and they're getting the autograph that they want, and like it's that type of stuff gets me riled up, dude. Like how long it's going to take, and then now you got to fast track and shortchange a customer like that. I mean,
the other upsetting part of all of this is his signature price keeps on increasing. It's almost $200 a signature now.
Yeah,
like that. But to me, that's I don't know. To me, that's for how many amount of autographs there are of his out there. That's way too much to be charging people. Still.
Yeah,
I mean, but I think at the same time, he's just trying to see like how much he can get away with, and people still like sending in like record amounts of books for him to sign,
because he's not an up and coming artist, right? So he can go as high as he wants. He could give a shit if nobody wants me to sign their book. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Like if it's that mentality, then just get out the game.
Well, I think what caused a lot of the delays, if you notice on his Instagram, they had a whole media crew doing daily videos on him, and also saying, "Oh, if this is your book, I'm signing it today." And they did that. I don't know how many of those were posted on Instagram, which means they must have stopped him about 100 times to do videos. Yeah. Which means, and I've sat in on sessions of big signings, and as I'm sure some of you might have been as well over the years. But the minute you say anything to these guys while they're signing, they will stop. And they might as well take lunch or fucking get coffee, because sometimes they don't shut up for about 20, 30 minutes. So between the talking, the shooting the videos, or can we get that again, or that didn't sound right, or him just telling a story, from 1993. I'm telling you, I've sat there and watched these guys go on for almost 40 fucking minutes without signing a book because they want to tell a story.
Oh, jeez.
And and we've had
because they have the attention of the entire room and everything.
That's not just that.
For fucking YouTube.
Most of these guys don't get a chance to really have a regular talk where they're having fun talking about the hobby. Most of the times they're surrounded by a bunch of either kiss asses or just people, hurry up and get from point A to point B because they have meetings or agendas and stuff. So when they finally get into a place where they feel comfortable and they like you, and then all of a sudden they're saying, oh, let me tell you the story about why we did a red, web stamp on the back of these Spider-Man 1 books when I signed them. You know what I mean? And they just go on, and they'll forget that they're in a signing.
Yeah, and then it's committed to a certain amount of time, and the people at the back end get screwed. But
yeah.
All right, let's keep going. There's so many books to talk about.
Yeah, don't put any more badass books up, dude.
And no more charts.
We're going to be talking,
Yeah, more charts. The whole fucking.
I'm joking.
This is like I think the last chart, isn't it?
No, there's one more, I think. But Spider-Man #1, another majorly graded book with newsstands. Now, there's a couple of points I want to make here. If you look at the bar chart for the CBCS census, because they break it out, you can see that the polybagged UPC or the newsstand is, far less than the silver direct or the silver bagged. Now, if you look down this chart here, what you can see is it says that the green polybagged newsstand was 125,000. Personally, I believe that number is way overstated, and we'll get into why. But just that number gets quoted a lot, and it was an estimate by Overstreet. So when you hear about the print run for the new Spider-Man #1 by McFarlane newsstand 125, that was an estimate by Overstreet. So I just wanted to point that out. If we go, and I'll point out why I think it's wrong. So this is the book. Obviously, this is a legendary cover by McFarlane, who we were just talking about. The newsies in this, they don't actually have a huge markup over the directs. 128 versus 76. I was surprised to see that. And maybe that was a light sale, because as I see these things, they're usually selling in the 200 to 250 range, I thought, but whatever. Maybe somebody got a deal. But that's relatively close, all things considered. A heavily graded book, almost 19,000 on the census. And obviously there's all the other versions of it. But what I wanted to point out was, if we go to the next book, X-Men #1, so this was the highest printed comic of all time. Each issue had 1.5 million copies roughly, and the newsstands were actually verified by John Jackson Miller at Comic-Con. He reached out to Marvel and got verification of how many that they produced, and it was 43,000 per cover.
Oh, nice.
And what they said is that's all the newsstand could accommodate. The newsstand market could accommodate, because they're on the spinner racks and the whole thing. This number is also consistent if you look at Amazing Spider-Man throughout the years, which was the best-selling comic for Marvel. It was all the news. John Jackson Miller also verified newsstands there. They're always in the 40,000 range. So this was the number that the newsstand could accommodate. So this number, this 125 that gets thrown out, I think is probably overstated. This 43,000, like I said, was a number given to John Jackson Miller by Marvel directly. He wrote an article about this, if you want to take a look at it. So that was really what the newsstands across the country could absorb, was about 43,000 copies, 43,000, 45,000. But this is from the best-selling book of all time. So
I'd be really impressed to see them within a year's time, like, be able to print, push out 3 times the amount more books, if that 125,000 number is accurate, right?
Right, and there was talk that they released that book multiple times, so there could be. But if there was truly just pushed out one time, that 125, the newsstand couldn't really absorb it. But I'm just sort of sharing what my gut is I don't have obviously the real answer, but the fact that the best-selling comic of all time, verified by Marvel, the newsstands that pushed out were 43,000 per issue. And I didn't go through all of these. There's too many of them, but I looked. I think if you go to the next one, I looked at a couple of covers. This is the cover. This is actually the cover C. I feel like a lot of people. This is the cover people identify with this issue most closely. The Cyclops and the Wolverine.
Yeah,
it sells for about $100 more in a 9.8 newsie than it sells for direct. And these are still out there. Like if you find these in newsstands, they're definitely worth grabbing, particularly if you find them cheap, because they always sell at a premium to the directs, even raw. But they graded the hell out of the directs, 37,000 copies. But the newsies at 43,000. I mean, it is a significantly more rare book than the directs. And I think for me, this is a little undervalued. Just given sort of like from guys from our generation, like how impactful the series was. Like it was a big freaking series when this was like big news when this came out.
So before my main LCS closed, they used to sell bundles of books, and so they had a stack of all the X-Men ones that they had bought in collections and pieced them together, and then they had priced it. And then I looked at one set; they were all newsstands, or at least the front and the back were. But the funny part was it was the same price as the directs.
Most stores, if they're moving that kind of inventory, they don't give a shit. Like just get it out. Like they've got so much of it. And
wait, this is a smaller shop. Like compare
how many years ago would you say?
This was probably like 8 years ago.
Yeah,
maybe
I mean,
7.
people were not focused on like.
I mean, I was surprised they even had separated them though.
Yeah, I don't know. Like a lot of us have been on the newsstand thing for a while, but a lot of the shops, like they just didn't give a shit. And a lot of them still don't. I mean,
but they bundled them together too, as like this is a direct set, this is a newsstand set. Yeah. And then, so they had multiple sets of just issue 1, like with all the connecting covers, right?
Yeah. Let me tell you, I got chased out of Barnes and Nobles waiting on New 52 books, dude. So like I used to watch Unpressable Defects with Trey K and Leg, and Trey was huge on newsstands and convinced me, and like said, go to Barnes and Noble on Wednesdays. They get deliveries, so I'd wait for them to finish organizing all the fucking magazines until they always waited to mess with the comics last, and so that. It was a scene. I'll just say that. So,
yeah, I mean, that was the end. The tail end of the whole newsstand thing, man. That was, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of us who were sort of focused on this stuff for a long time. But if we go to the next book, this is the Magneto one. People love this cover, and this one sells for a little bit more, man. This one goes for about $200, just over $200. For a newsie versus like 60 for the direct. I get a lot of people saying that like, newsstands shouldn't sell for more. There's a lot of people with like animosity towards newsstands. And the whole point is that you can not like them, but like, if you're digging, don't ignore them because you can sell them for more, like period. They always go for a little bit more than the directs, regardless of the condition. It's not a high condition game. Like they'll sell for a little bit more every single time.
But that seems like a old school mentality too, right? Of the hate for newsstands. I mean, not so much hate, or I would say distaste, right?
Yeah,
like because there was a big time period of collectors where they only wanted the Spider-Man head or the Captain America head for the longest time, and it's like, oh, I have the stupid barcode.
Yeah, no. I mean, I was a newsstand collector growing up, man. Like, didn't have that. I grew up in the fucking sticks of Maine, man, and like I had access to like 7-Eleven, right, and like like the pharmacies, and like that's where I was buying a lot of comic books. And like my buddy, he was going to comic shops, and he'd always have Spider-Man in the corner. I was like, God, mine looks so fucking bad. But little did I know that they were the better pickups at the time. Anyways, let's keep going. All right, I just want to point this out real quickly. People do get hung up on newsstands. 1979 was the first year of the directs, and definitely the newsstands were far more common in 1979 than the directs. The directs, particularly from Marvel, they were shown with sort of the slash through the barcode there.
Yeah.
And what you see here, just this month, a 9/8 direct sold for 2.3 thousand, 2,300 for the direct, and 2,000 for the newsy. The directs are far less. And what I was going to do, and it was too much work, is that if you go and look at the listed books on eBay and look for the newsies versus the directs, what you'll see is that the newsies outnumber the directs by about 2 to 1. And I've done this many times. So there's far more newsies out there. So don't pay up for newsies from 1979 for sure. It gets a little murkier after that because we looked at the Wolverine book that was in 82, and in theory, there should have been more newsstands than directs, but it clearly wasn't the case. But in 1979, and with this book in particular, do not overpay for the newsstand. The direct is the better book to have.
Mm-hmm. And look out for the variant. What is it? Right there at the top where the comics code is.
With the what is it? With
red
the yellow,
red and yellow. Yeah, it's red. It's like half red, half yellow, right up in that.
Yeah, in between the comics code and the on the bar of the Marvel Comics group, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Sure. We're just going to touch base on some books that are selling for newsstands now. For people who don't think they command a higher price, just kind of beat it home. Master of the Universe, hot as hell right now. Movie coming out. We'll see if it's any good or not. This is a Tusca in Giordano cover from 82. By 82, as the data would show, is that newsstands were more common than directs, but you'll see here that the newsies sell for a comfortable premium relative to the directs, 510 for this book, which is kind of crazy to think about, to be honest with you, but $510 and 375 bucks for a 9.8 direct, both sold this month. Only 2,600 copies of this book on the census, which kind of surprised me. That feels low for an IP that's so popular. And this is not the first appearance. Obviously, that was a DC comic book, but the first solo series, if you will, of He-Man.
Greg M. I would say the reason why there's so many people listing books as newsstands over like what it actually is probably because it's a non-comic seller selling comic books, and they see the highest price that's being sold. Click that button, sell one like this, upload your own pictures, boom.
Yep.
I mean, that would just be my guess.
Yeah. And there's other guys who just
or people trying to manipulate the market within the small percentage of that. But I would say it's the story I just told.
I mean, here's another obviously legendary book from the Copper Age. This is still Copper, right? Yeah.
No, this is early modern.
This is modern.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just stick to 93. Sorry. $3,000 for this in a newsie versus 2,000 in a direct. It's a fairly hefty premium. But another book that I surprised doesn't go for more in newsie. Although, what's going on with Harley right now? Like, I got to talk to the Harley fans. Like, are people like engaged with the character these days? Like, I've read some of the books, and she just seems to be in a weird place. Like, she's not really connected with the Joker. She's got this relationship with Ivy. Like, I don't know. Like, is Harley still a thing?
She's in her college time period.
I guess, man. I don't know. She just doesn't seem to be the character that everybody loved, 10 years ago.
So I strike this up to the Chicago Cubs. So when you have a venue that continues to sell out like the Bleacher Bums, why would you even bother to invest any time, pick up free agents or anything like that when you know you're going to sell the ballpark out? Same thing with like Harley Quinn. It's a property, a lot of movement on her product. Like artists do a great rendering of her, don't worry about storyline, and it sells. So why would they even bother to attempt to redo an origin or uh, create kind of a different kind of storyline with her and revitalize her? Now, it more to come. Maybe absolute something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, the absolute Harley. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I've never been a real big Harley fan, so I'm not the right person to talk to. I just, as I look at it, like I'm just curious. Like, are people really amped up about what's going on with her in the comics these days? I don't hear anybody talking about her, but maybe I'm in the wrong circles. What the hell do I know?
I think Ben, they did to her what they did to Gwenpool. They've got a different creative team
John.
who decided to reinvent or make her more of a modern relatable to some of the different type of people in growing up now.
But people who don't read comic books, right? I mean,
but you also stretched out this character like super thin too, right? To having to appeal to multiple crowds. Like you still try to keep your comic book readers with whatever title. Then you also had the situation with Margot Robbie and her effects into the live action films. Then throw in the animated series as well. So you have like 7 different versions of Harley running around like in the same time period of the grand scheme of DC, right? But then it's like at the end of that all, which one is going to survive? You know what I mean? Like of that character storyline, or is someone going to follow?
I read the worst Harley story of all time last year. It was like her obsessed with Ivy's farts. It was a book about farts. I could not believe DC. It was so ridiculous. But like I just don't know if they know what to do with the character. But maybe like I said, I'm not reading it, so maybe the storylines like people are into it. But like they got
just wait until an absolute Harley comes out. You'll be all right.
Well, she's been out for a while. She
did that already.
You can tell I'm not reading it, but like,
but she's got like a shaved head. I mean, she doesn't look like this character Harley. No, really.
See, now you have a 20th version of it. It's like it's getting bad as like the Joker. You're gonna have like a 3 Harley Quinn book or something like that coming up at some point.
I would say the absolute version is right in line with being a bad version of her, as same as the one that's chasing Poison Ivy's asshole. I would think that again, she was super popular character, same as Gwenpool was before. A different writing team had different visions and different ideas that were really weird, and they ruined a really super popular character. You just don't see Harley being used the way she used to be in the DC universe anymore, and it's kind of weird now. So
yeah, I mean, she still moves covers. I mean, like there'll be good covers of her out, but like I said, I don't know what's going on with her and her books. Are people excited about it? I mean, like I said, I don't read it, so I'm not the right person to ask. But I just don't. I don't hear anybody talking about her books. Let's just
they need to write a story with her being of consequence. There's nothing of consequence with her. Maybe you kill her off and see what happens.
But which version? Okay. Anyways,
I don't know. The one in continuity.
Yeah. So, I do like this book that you put it up here, especially because I know that Overstreet have written an article like maybe like 8 years ago comparing, like they were asking what is the best modern book that you can see in the future, and then the writer chose New Mutants 98 and Batman Adventures 12. And then it was like kind of, because that's always been kind of like somewhat of a debate, right? Because at one point in time, those were around the same kind of price. And then they were like projecting into the future, which book is going to be worth more at. And then, I mean, because like I think historically, like Batman Adventures 12 has always costs a little bit more than New Mutants.
Yeah,
98.
because there's fewer of them. This was a kid's book. It wasn't printed as. I mean, New Mutants had a very high print run, right? That's the only difference. I think honestly, the Deadpool property has been treated, and this is not like Marvel is a fucking goddamn mess, but it's still been treated better than Harley.
I don't disagree. Like,
but I think this one it goes for more because it was basically a kid's book, and there was a much shorter print run on these. Bro, New Mutants was really exploding as a book when 98 came out, right? Liefeld had like gone nuclear, and orders are off the charts. So
I just want to know who picked Lady Gaga to. Like at one point, like at the table, I got it. Let's get Lady Gaga for Harley. Oh man, it's like I don't know if they're trying to do the opposite of what fans want. Like I told you they wouldn't like it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That was that movie was a mystery, honestly. But anyways, let's keep going, man. We're gonna lose track of our crowd here.
Yeah, because we still have like 10 books left.
Yeah, so this book's a really interesting one. First of all, it's a badass Pulp Fiction homage. But what I find super interesting about this book is that because the newsstand was a different price than the direct, CGC did record two different versions. So the direct was $1.99 or $2, and this one was $1.50. The newsstand was $1.50. So if you look at the census count at the bottom, there's 73 copies of the newsstand on the census versus 852 of the direct, and I think that's really important information. You can obviously clearly see that there's far fewer newsies of this than there are of directs, and the price difference definitely is apparent on this one. $355 for the last newsie that sold in December of last year, and early this year in January a direct sold for $95. So you're talking 3.5x price difference on this one. So but yeah, what I like about this one is the fact that we can see through the data on this one because the price was different, and CGC distinguished them out of the gate.
Because of the price variant difference.
Yes, the price.
Yeah. And then I think I finally found this in the newsstand. Finally, at one point in time,
I found one finally too. I've been looking for years, and I found them. They're asking more than I was willing to pay for them, but I finally got hands on one myself.
I can't remember if I kept it or sold it though, but I did find one at one point in time, and I blame all y'all on this panel. All right. We're just gonna get into this obscure shit because it's whatever. It's fun. So Venom, the Enemy Within. I just want to point out on this one that the newsstand of this book sold for $600. If you don't think that there's money to be found in the newsstand, you're nuts, right? So a 9.8 of this sold for $600. The directs sell for $185. Now, if you've ever had this book, it picks up spine ticks really easy. So the 9.8s are tough to get. But regardless, a newsstand version of this book, regardless, will sell for a premium, but a super premium in 9.8. Nice.
All right. Like I said, just
throwing
random shit out there. You remember this book?
Yeah, this was like the hot book of like maybe 10 years ago or something like that. But I did not realize there was a newsie of this. I should have.
This is like 25 years ago, Carter. Like we're dating ourselves here. This is a quarter century old, this book at this point now. I mean the newsstand sells for like 300 plus in this thing, which is wild. And then the direct sells for $135. And surprisingly, there's not a lot of graded copies of the direct, right? 281, 137 9.8s, but just sort of hammering home this point that as you're out there looking for books, newsstands, man, you can flip these things for a lot of money if you're finding them. So just don't sleep on them. And it's harder work. You got to take them out of the box. You know what I mean? Like, you just can't go look at the tops. You've got to take your time and take them out. So just something to. So Derek, I wrote an article, said there's always money in the newsstand for Go Collect years ago when I was writing for it. And it was obviously a play on there's always money in the banana stand. So I appreciate the joke. So
damn, that's a callback.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's keep moving. I mean, another one, right? Spawn newsstands are no-brainers. Are no-brainers, particularly when you get up towards 100 and beyond. This is obviously a badass Angela cover. Capullo and McFarlane did the work on this one. I think McFarlane did the inks and Capullo did the pencils. From Image in 2000, and 9/8 of this sold in the early in 2025 for $250, where directs go for $76. Once again, just huge premiums for newsstands on these. And any Spawn, like I said, rule of thumb, any Spawn newsstand's worth grabbing if you find it cheap. Even the early ones.
My LCS has this on the wall right now, like in a newsstand. And
Really?
I keep ignoring it. I don't know.
How much are they asking for it?
You might want to, if it's clean, man, you
much.
might want to go back. Man.
I think they wanted like $25 for it, or for it, something between 25 and 35.
$25 for this is not bad, because the raw. I mean, the direct basically sells for that price.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure he has a price like that because maybe he has maybe a couple of spine ticks or something, but I may still grab it because, like you said, don't pass on the Spawn newsstands. That there's such a first of all, the Spawn collectors are such a hardcore cult following for that stuff, and then you start getting into the rarities like newsstands and the variant covers that people missed out on, or the short prints. They do get nuts if they can find them, for sale.
Or their secret variants.
I gotta grab that shit maybe tomorrow. Because I know there's a couple of guys that follow this show that always run into me at the show. I mean, at the store.
At the shower store.
And they talk about how they saw me on Mercenaries channel, so I know they're gonna be racing me tomorrow to get there. So. I fucked up. I fucked up. I realized I fucked up like 3 seconds after I said it. So.
It happens every time, you know what I mean?
I'm waiting for somebody to chime in and say, "Yeah, I'll see you there tomorrow, buddy."
well, the funny part is, like, when my job was my job at Rice was being a little bit easier on me, and then I didn't have to where I could like leave in the middle of the day and go to LCS to try to Wednesday Warrior it. I would always run into freaking Johnny in the chat. That's based out of Houston. So shout out to Johnny.
What's up, Galindo?
Yep. Is he pressing with you yet?
Yeah, he's I think he's scared, bro.
just send it to Red Hood. Stays in Texas.
Man. He's scared, bro.
Don't be scared.
All right, we're gonna get some biggies now. Once you start getting into the late 2000, 7, 8, 9, 10, like the premiums on newsstands go fucking bananas. This book is a perfect example. So Amazing Spider-Man 607, a 9/8 newsie just sold last week for $2,800. The direct sold in January for $213. I mean, the premiums, once you're starting to get to this area of newsstands, are fucking bananas.
And this is a premium.
I mean, that's obviously money laundering, right?
No,
I'm just joking.
I just think that people appreciate how tough these books are to get. And like, it's not just this book. Like, I mean, I don't know. I post a lot of newsstands that I find, like, from books from this era that are just badass covers, but the originals don't carry that much value because they're so common. But the newsstand all of a sudden immediately becomes hyper rare.
Yeah.
And so I urge you, if you're digging for these things, just keep an eye open for these because newsstands from common covers that are really cool by popular artists, I think have a shit ton of upside going forward, like a shit ton.
Well, do you put this one up? This is one of his greatest covers.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like,
how many newsstands do you have, Joe?
0 on this one.
Yeah,
I've got newsstand Campbell. I've never seen this out at a shop in the wild
Ever.
The only place where I think I could find it is maybe Baltimore Comic-Con, you know?
Yeah.
But Jesus Christ, man.
And it's probably someone that missed it too, like where they just, yeah. It's
Did you guys? I haven't got through all of Hot Book Alert. Did you guys talk about this on the show?
No, you know what? I didn't even see this freaking sale. I'll have to talk about it next week.
That's fucking nuts, man.
Yeah, I was watching it and I'm like, God, this. I'm like an hour and a half in. You guys got to like one book, and I realized that it going for another 2.5 hours longer. You guys went 4 hours.
I bet you anything it was somebody that got this at a 9.8 early and hung on to that book for about 8 years, right? And said, you know what, I'm going to sell it.
Nice.
That's what I think. I could be wrong.
Hey Ben, me and Mercer and Mike, we were running longer than Godfather.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it, dude. I was just because I don't check the time. I just put the show on. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, they haven't talked about any books yet.
And I actually bailed out first. I think that last time I was like, I think I had to get up really early for a show, so I was like, I gotta go.
Yeah. All right. So I didn't know if I hadn't got through it yet. I'll get there, but if you got to that point. All right. Let's keep rolling. Detective Comics 880, famous jock cover from DC Comics 2011.
You're gonna tell me there's a newsstand of this?
Yeah,
I have to go find one.
This. And there's no 9/8 that at least there's been no 9/8 sales that I can find.
Well, this book was always historically hard to get in a 9/8 anyways.
Yes.
Like direct or newsstand. And I forget the exact reason why. Is it the back cover or is it like some of the black on the edges?
I think you also have color rub on this book.
Oh, because of the white front, and then
like
people
the
stacking.
white shows spine ticks more in this book than like at some other white covers.
Oh,
like
yeah.
The spine ticks show real easy on this one.
And the paper is shit to begin with too. So
or people miss the spine, the minuscule spine ticks because of the white. You know what I mean? When you're looking at it before you submit it, you're probably thinking, "Oh, it looks great," and I guarantee there's a lot of misses on little defects because of the white cover.
I'm not gonna tell the Dino trick of how to check for spine ticks. So, but that's too big of a company secret. But anyways, this is definitely one of my all-time favorite covers.
Oh,
yeah, and then the 9/6 sold for $700, which for me kind of feels like a steal, but it's still a 2x premium to the direct.
I think I would rather still. I would really want to try to find it raw and then grade it myself.
The newsy.
Yeah, the newsy instead of buying a straight up 9/6.
Yeah.
I
don't know. Wouldn't you be tempted on a 9/6 of this if there's no 9/8s to see if you could do something to it? I mean, you could challenge Joe, give him a nice big like bonus if he can get it to an 8.
Who has 9/6?
Yeah, but then like how much money are you putting into it too as well to like, CPR?
So a 9/6 of this would easily be a $1,500 book, I would say. A 9/8 of this would be a $1,500 book.
Yeah.
I wonder
you know what?
Last
some of these books that you're talking about, you're not going to find digging in a box unless you buy somebody's collection that, somebody found a collection and you're the first guy to look. But
no,
you're not going to go to a show and dig in the box and find that J. Scott Campbell Black Cat cover.
No, but what small chance, you might find them selling a newsstand for a direct price.
Okay, yeah.
Right, so that's the game. That's the game you play with the book. These higher profile books.
Well, I'll tell you,
is that just want to be done with. Just want to make money, and they're not going to sit there and differentiate the prices for a newsstand, and they're just going to say.
A lot of people don't even know there's a newsstand of it. They just see it. This is the book I'm going to price. You know what I mean? Like,
so Dino was pricing books in Baltimore, and he had the Campbell Black Panther, And I said, "What are you doing, man? That's a newsstand." And he was like, "Oh shit, I didn't even see that." And right away, it's like, "Hey, dude, you got to slow down, man. You know, because like I can so see that. It's happened. Like people are very conscious of newsstands now because of the rarity of some of these, man. And just look what they're commanding in a high grade. It's
I saw
easy money.
When I was at C2E2, I was digging through a shop's bin or whatever. They ended up having a ASM 700 in a newsstand. Death of Spider-Man or whatever, and then
the which covered the red one with all the Spideys on it.
Yeah, the collage one with all the different spider.
Nice.
Yeah, but I mean, it had visible spine ticks on it, all that da 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 da. They wanted like $200 for it just because it was a newsstand, and I was just like, I was like, you gotta be smoking crack to buy this, like.
Yeah,
that's where you go. Where are the comps? You have any comps or like? I'm interested, but you got to get like, come on, man. You got to play ball here. Like, I'm interested, but don't like. What are you doing? You're not going to sell it.
Don't tax me. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to hunt. I mean, the fun of the newsstands is the hunt. I mean, the fun of the game is honestly the hunt. But they're definitely out there. They're definitely out. All right, we got a couple more. Another Spawn, first Angela. I mean, the difference on this one is staggering. I couldn't believe it. $500 for the newsie in 9.8 versus 85 for the direct.
That's a huge price gap.
Massive difference, right? It's such low hanging fruit. And if you want to go and get them graded, I've got boxes and boxes of newsstands that I'm like tempted to start sending some of them in. Not that I necessarily even want to get rid of them, but like, I don't know. I'm like, all right, let's see what we can get out of some of these. But yeah, I mean, this is a book I'm pretty sure I've got this in a newsie somewhere, but a 9.8 for $500, man, that's a nice. And I would say that in the wild, they'll ask like $10 for this book direct, and you could probably find it 25 in a newsie, 25 in a newsie. If it's high grade, man, roll the dice and grade the damn thing.
Yeah.
All right. It's a famous G.I. Joe cover, second to last issue. Yeah, 155 was the last issue, right?
I need that one.
All right. Amanda Connor did the cover of this, believe it or not. Early Amanda Connor.
Yep.
She was like doing all sorts of weird stuff. She did like a lot of that Barbie stuff back then. You know what I mean? Anyways, $350 for a 9.4 newsie of this. What I would say, I was surprised to see the direct goes for as much as it does. Still 200.
Yeah, it's just low print, very low print run. It is so fucking hard to find, dude. And I've tried to find that, but I'm not going to pay like that. You know,
no, enough dealers know, the significance of this book. You might find it like if somebody sold a G.I. Joe collection and the guy just wasn't into G.I. Joe, you might. It's surprising. Like I was talking with somebody, a really experienced comic book shop owner, and he's like, a lot of these dealers, they just go straight for the silver. All they care about, and the rest of it, they just don't give a shit, and they don't look that closely at it. So.
I finally found one of my like final issues, Star Wars 107. Took me forever to find. Yeah, I mean, and then it was actually at a price I wanted to pay too. In the condition, like I paid like $10 for it, and then when I saw that in the condition, I was just kind of like, yes, like this is an acceptable copy. All that. Oh, look at John.
On that. There you go, John.
That's a very nice giveaway you're gonna do.
It's it's a 9.6 that I found that like doesn't appear to have any flaws that should be a 9.6. So I may have to ask a professional that I know.
Yeah.
About getting a 9.8 on this.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
All right, just let the chat know what they have to do.
He's been known to get you a few 9.8s, right, John?
Oh yeah.
Run the table.
All right. Well, okay, we just got a couple more left. Just pointing out, like, we're kind of beating a dead horse here, but God of War #1 from 2010. And once you start to get into this era of Newsies, like the premiums really start to jump. 315 for the direct, 775 for the 9.8. They both sold this month. 401 copies.
God, that's crazy, man.
You're pushing $1,000 for the Newsie on this thing.
God,
right?
man.
How have they not made a movie of this yet?
I don't know.
I thought they were. Aren't they making a movie of this?
I mean, I don't know. Are they?
I swear, I thought they were.
Yeah, Ben Diesel or what?
Nah, they got to get Jason Momoa, and while he's still the age he's at,
Well, he's got to get back on the roids and get ripped again.
Yeah, he's got to get a couple of shots, and
do you think he would cut his hair for this role?
Why not? They're gonna throw him. You know how much money he's gonna make doing this if he does?
Yeah, that's true.
Somebody said there's a show. Okay, I knew there was some property developed or being developed for this. So,
oh, then I guess if it's a show, then I guess they're not gonna do a Momoa. Then they'll go with somebody else.
Ooh,
I don't think he's a show guy.
They're not gonna use The Rock.
Yeah, I mean, there's not enough money in the shows, right?
Ryan Burst is playing him.
All those guys are coming off their steroids. Him and who's the other guy that played the Destroyer from Guardians?
But Batista, you couldn't even recognize the dude, man. He lost 300 pounds.
Yeah, you can smack that guy and walk away now.
No shit, man. I'm gonna do it if I ever see him.
Yeah, next time I see Dave Batista, I'm gonna slap him in the face. And I'll get his autograph anyways from the restraining order.
All right, here's a classic. Ultimate Fallout #4, obviously the first appearance of Miles Morales, Mark Bagley, Marvel 2011, a 9.0, right? So people say, well, Newsies, it's only high grade. A 9.0 for almost $2,000 compared to $290 for the direct.
Wow, that's like one version of UF4 that has remained consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this is like that one 1900 was in middle of last year, so we're not talking about like the boom times. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean I know prices were pretty ridiculous or whatever during that time period, but I would still say it's somewhat consistent on staying up, at least over 4 figures, right?
Yeah, man, that's an impressive. I used to fucking comb eBay during COVID looking for newsstands that were listed incorrectly. I never found one. I was like,
what one trick is type the word variant and misspell it, and you'd be surprised what you'll find.
Oh man, yeah.
Oh, there used to be a tool I used to use, where whatever you were searching on eBay, you could put it into this database, and it would make up it would show you all the results from every variation of how that word, each word is misspelled, and you pull up all kinds of crazy shit, dude. Yeah. So there's some cornbread out there for you.
Yeah, we're saying too much, Yee.
These are old school tricks. I mean, it's the internet. Yeah. There's all kinds of tools for you. I'm sure there's an AI bot that's doing the same thing nowadays.
True. Yeah. If that's the way you want to win.
What, using machines?
Yeah.
More low grade stuff. This is Miles' first solo series. Kari Andrews. And if you ever wonder how to spell his name, I watched an interview with him. He's like, they asked him like, how do you pronounce your name? Is it Carrie? He's like, no, it's Kari. It rhymes with Atari. So if you ever need to remember that, that's how it's pronounced.
Kari.
Yeah, then 8.5 Newsy sold for $200. 8.5 for a modern, right?
That's cheap, man.
It was probably a pretty good pickup. But then
you think
the
it was
8.5 direct goes for $85. So yes, that 200. But even so, it's more than a 2x premium. And what's interesting about this book, if you don't know, it picks up dings easy, and you can't get them out. But there's only 691 9/8 out of almost 4,000 copies graded of this book.
And shit paper.
You got to be careful. You got to be careful also with these books if you crack them and then it's missing a digital code where they didn't look for a digital code back then. And then you got some fucker that goes, I'm missing digital code 7.0, you know?
Yeah, Mike, these were polybagged in the white bag because there were some Stanley autographs inserted in those bags.
Oh, has anyone ever confirmed yet or not if the newsstand UF4s were originally polybagged?
I've never seen one bag.
I mean, I'm just asking out of curiosity more than anything.
I would. God, I wouldn't think that they'd be unbagged. Would you?
Yeah, I don't know. I would imagine they would have done them the same way. I mean, they were bagged for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah,
right. I mean, yeah.
There's nothing on the bag. There was nothing in the bag.
They didn't want people to read it for free. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's just it. They didn't want people to read it because they didn't bag any of the other ones, right? That was the only issue in that entire run that was bagged, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
They didn't want anyone leaking out the first appearance. No shit.
Nobody freeload. All right, that's the show for tonight.
All right, so big shout out to Cover Price. Make sure you're using the code Nirvana14 for 30-day unlimited membership for only 99 cents. Matt, we're still waiting for you to show up on the show. I'll start sending you links again. And then big shout out to Bird City Comics. You can use the code Nirvana for a 10% discount. Some restrictions may apply. Alrighty.
No show next week. No
okay.
show.
Yeah, I was about to announce it on to be on Carter's show.
No. I'm in Miami. Aaron's traveling, so we're off next week. Sorry about that.
I'll be in a data center messing with your internet.
Are you flying again, Ben?
Yeah, I gotta head down to Miami on Tuesday. Come back on Thursday night. Hopefully, on time, both ways. We'll see.
If my job gives me the option, I'm gonna fly, no matter how short the flight is. Like I think I'm flying to Dallas. It's awesome.
Yeah, better than traffic though. Fucking.
Well, I mean, okay, I figured it's about the same amount of time, right? Like the amount of time I have to show up before the airport to the actual flight and all that, to landing. I never check in bags, so I never worry about that part. But so with all that in consideration and getting a rental card and getting to your hotel, that's in all that time period, it's going to be about like 3 to 4 hours, right? It's just going to take me 4 hours just to drive to Dallas. So, and it's like, yeah. So I if I don't have to drive, I will fly. Hot book alert this week, Sunday.
This Sunday, 9:00 Eastern. Be there.
I'll be back for issue 101, man. 101. Hot book alert.
Nice.
101.
Joe and I will probably be on the Hot 10 tomorrow. I haven't heard any changes in that.
Yeah, I'll be on. I'm going to have a whatnot before the show, though. I got some crazy books.
Do you actually have it scheduled at this point?
No, I don't, but I'm going to schedule it before I go to bed.
Yeah, schedule it tonight so people can bookmark it. So
yeah, marinate on it.
Yeah, so send him a bunch of messages if he does not. If you don't see his,
I'll bookmark it. I promise.
He's good. He says he's gonna bookmark it, but if he doesn't have it bookmarked,
Aaron,
I want
I'm
everyone
gonna do
in the
it.
chat
I promise.
to send him.
I'm gonna have some something is killing the children books, like some special ones. So be on the lookout. I promise.
Alrighty. And what else? Johnny, I live so far southwest of Houston that I'm gonna run into a bunch of traffic no matter which route I take. Anyways, that's a whole nother thing. Saturday night, make sure to check out Beyond Wednesdays for Modern Comic Mayhem. I think Brian has something up his sleeve for some nice tea. So make sure to tune in. And then I think everyone is just counting down the days to MegaCon now at this point. All right. I still don't have a sign off. Later days.